Angry Birds wasn't just popular, it cannot be avoided. You saw it on your phones, t-shirts, toys, on even school backpacks. For a brief moment, it looked like Angry Birds was on its way to becoming something permanent, a franchise that could stand next to Mario and Sonic. But today, when most people hear about Angry Birds, they don't feel excited anymore. How did one of the most successful games ever slowly lose everything that made it so special? This is the story of how Angry Birds rose to the top, and then quietly fell apart. Back in 2009, Rovio Entertainment was running out of time. The Finnish studio had spent 6 years making games, releasing more than 50 titles, and none of them worked. Every launch failed. Money was nearly gone. They could afford to make just one more game before shutting the company down. One day, a developer brought in a simple sketch: round birds with angry faces.
Just some night I was at home and I got the idea of this flock of angry birds ramming through buildings, and I made a picture out of it, and I showed that to our bosses, and they loved the characters, and that's how it all started.
But they needed enemies. At the time, the news was filled with stories about flu that was spreading. So they chose green pigs. The gameplay idea wasn't brand new. Similar physics-based games already existed, but Rovio's version felt smoother. The art was clean, and sound effects were so addictive. And for the first time, their characters actually felt memorable. When Angry Birds finally launched at the end of 2009, almost no one noticed. Then Rovio promoted it. Downloads exploded within months. Angry Birds was the #1 app in the US and the UK. Rovio immediately stopped working on every other project. By 2011, Angry Bird games was everywhere. New versions, holiday themes, and huge brand collaborations. In 2012, the franchise reached a historic milestone of 1 billion downloads. But here's the part most people don't realize. The real money wasn't coming from the game. It was coming from merchandise. Toys flooded the stores, and kids couldn't get enough of them. At its peak, merchandise made up nearly half of Rovio's total revenue. Angry Birds wasn't just a game anymore. It was a product machine. And that created a dangerous problem, because while the brand was growing, the game itself wasn't changing. By 2014, people were getting tired of the same experience. The levels looked different, but the gameplay stayed same. Unlike other franchises that constantly reinvented themselves, Angry Birds stayed almost frozen in place. Then things got worse. Reports came out claiming that Angry Birds was sharing personal user data. The game was publicly criticized and mocked online. Whether the accusations were fair or not didn't matter. Public trust dropped and revenue collapsed. Rovio was suddenly in trouble again. In order to recover, the company tried something new. They released spin-off games that broke away from the Slingshot formula. There was a vehicle building game, a racing game, and even a role-playing game. And surprisingly, fans loved them. But the problem was, they didn't sell plush toys. Since merchandise had become the company's main source of income, Rovio panicked. They began cutting costs, laying off employees, and restructuring leadership. And the original CEO stepped down. Instead of following what players enjoyed, Rovio focused on what made money. That decision would change everything. In 2015, Angry Bird 2 was released. On the surface, it looked like the perfect sequel. Better graphics, smoother animations, and bigger levels. But the design philosophy had shifted. The game introduced lives and waiting systems. Instead of playing freely, players were constantly stopped unless they paid or waited hours to continue. Fans felt frustrated, but financially, it worked. Angry Bird 2 became Rovio's highest-earning game, and that sent a clear message inside the company. This was the future. To keep the brand alive, Rovio made one last massive gamble. It got into Hollywood.
Chuck, I need you to tie those crates together.
You got it. Done and done.
A little help here? Let's go, move it, everybody. Push with your upper body. I have no upper body.
They spent around $80 million creating the Angry Bird movie, even building their own animation studio from scratch. The movie performed well at the box office, earning hundreds of millions. But longtime fans were uncomfortable. The birds were redesigned with arms, legs, and exaggerated features. The simple charm that once made them iconic was gone. Instead of keeping the movie separate, Rovio forced this new style into their new games. Players didn't respond. Then came the decision that permanently damaged their relationship with fans. In 2019, Rovio removed the original games from app stores without warning. The classics, the games that actually built the company, were suddenly gone. Rovio claimed the games were too hard to maintain, and fans didn't believe it. Many felt the real goal was to push players toward newer games filled with aggressive monetization. The backlash was so massive. Eventually, Rovio brought the original back. But by then, the trust was gone. In 2023, Rovio was sold to Sega. Most people only care about Angry Birds for what it used to be, not what it is now. But through repetitive design, heavy monetization, and decisions that ignored their own legacy, they slowly let it slip away. Angry Birds didn't crash, it faded.